Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So, continuing with the series of environment and ecology videos, today we are going to start again a new topic, that is temperate needle leaf forest. It is a kind of a biome also. So, definition: needle leaf forests are full of straight trunked, that is, their trunk is basically straight, cone shaped pine trees with short branches and small narrow leaves that look like the sharp needles. That's why its name is temperate needle leaf forest. Then geographical distribution, so they occupy the higher latitude regions of the northern hemisphere as well as high altitude zones, that is high height zones, and some warm temperate areas, especially on the nutrients poor or otherwise unfavorable soils basically. So they are found there. And we can say basically in case of region subarctic, that is in North America, some parts of Europe and Siberia, and mountain ranges and high plateaus, they are found there. In east west latitude, that is the 45-degree north to the 75-degree north. So as you can see in this diagram, these are the areas where the temperate needle leaf forests are found. So this is the region that is 45-degree north to the 75-degree north in the areas of North America, Siberia and Europe, and some part of China or Asia also. Then climate, so very long cold winters with continuous snow cover, short cool summers provide most of the precipitation. Some precipitation will also in the form of snow in winters. However, total precipitation is generally low, we can say. The greatest annual temperature range of all the climates was seen here, that is fluctuation in the temperature was seen here. These forests are composed entirely or of nearly of coniferous species. So many conifers have needle leaf which are thin, pointed and very tough. It is actually a sort of adaptation so that they can survive there in the harsh climatic conditions also. Large stratas of trees that shade their leaves at least once a year, only located in northern hemisphere. So there are, we can say, some sort of deciduous trees also, but are very rare in number. This biome is also known as boreal forest, so there is another name for that. A more open form of boreal forest is called taiga. So not all the temperate needle leaf forest comes under the category of taiga, but yeah, some part is known as taiga. So in the southern hemisphere there is absence of humid microthermal climates, hence needle leaf forest biome is lacking there. So basically they are only found in northern hemisphere. Taiga. So we are going to study basically about the taiga. What is it? Taiga biome. So living in taiga is very cold and loneliness. Why? Because coldness and the food shortage makes things very difficult, mostly in the winter there. It is world's largest land biome, that is on the land surface, or we can say part of a terrestrial biome. Some of the animals hibernate in the winter. So this is basically a sort of adaptation so that animals protect themselves from the harsh winter. Then temperature range. So temperature in the summer get as low as -7 degrees Celsius, that is below that temperature do not get as low in case of summer. The high in summer can be 21 degrees Celsius. Summers are mostly warm, rainy and humid. As we know, some sort of precipitation was there. So precipitation range between 200 to 750 mm. Main season is winter and summer, that is observed here. There are not a lot of species of plants in the taiga because of harsh condition. As we know, evergreen in the taiga tend to be thin and grow close together. So there are some species, plant species, that are evergreen in nature, that is they do not shed their leaves so easily, or we can say in 1 or 2 years. So they are very thin and grow close to each other. Species are very few and large tracts of forest consist almost entirely of 1 or 2 species. So basically there is not much variation is seen in case of plants. Only 2 or 1 species are mostly grown in a particular tract. Then needle-leaf forests provide the continuous and deep shade to the ground. They provide the shade so that lower layers of the vegetations are sparse. That is, lower vegetation do not get much sunlight or absent except for a thick carpet of mosses in many places. So basically, mosses are only found on the ground surface, and most of the part is covered by only the needle-leaf forest because they provide so much shade that is the lower plants are not able to survive. Then the flora mainly are evergreens, spruce, fir, pine, and birch were there. In case of fauna, a bald eagle, bobcat, grey wolf, grizzly bear, river otter, American black bear, fox, raccoons, and timber wolves were there. There are some characteristics of plants and animals. Basically, we can say they are the sort of adaptations. Okay, first, in case of plants, evergreens grow thin and close to each other. Needles contain the chemicals so as they prevent themselves from the animals. Needle-like structures also limit the water loss, and there were shallow roots. So the point is why shallow roots are present, because shallow roots are there to take the advantage of the thin soils, while many of them seasonally alter their biochemistry to make them more resistant to the freezing called the hardening. So basically they stop their activities so that they are able to survive and protect themselves from the harshness of the environment. Then in case of animals, migration was seen, hibernation, sharp teeth were present, insulating furs and claws were present. So these are all the adaptations of the animals so that they can survive themselves. So now the properties of the soil. So taiga soil tend to be the young and poor in nutrients, lacking the deep organically enriched profile that is present in temperate deciduous forest, because here, as we can see, in case of deciduous forest, leaves are shed so that the soil is organically very rich, and in case of taiga there is not deciduous forest, so the soil is basically poor in nutrients. The colder climate hinders the development of the soil also, and the ease with which plants can use its nutrients. So it becomes a barrier. Then the diversity of the soil organisms in the boreal forest is high. Soil organisms are highly found here as compared to the tropical rainforest. The fallen leaves and the moss can remain on the forest floor for a long time in the cool, moist climate, which limits their organic contribution to the soil. That is, they do not contribute much to the organic soil. Then because the sun is low in the horizon for most of the year, as it is found in northern hemisphere and is also in high latitude, so it is difficult for the plants to generate energy from the photosynthesis, so they are not able to produce much food. So pine, spruce and fir do not lose their leaves seasonally and are able to photosynthesize with their older leaves. That is, they do not shed their leaves. Okay, they are evergreen in nature. In late winter and spring, when light is good but temperature are still too low for the new growth to commence, so this is their adaptation. Again, in case of fauna, we can say insects play a critical role here as a pollinator, decomposers, and as a part of the food web also they play an important role. Cold winters and the short summer make the taiga a challenging biome for reptile and amphibians. Why? Because they depend on environmental conditions to regulate their body temperature. Some reptiles, or we can say amphibians, are found here. For example, Siberian salamander, wood frog, red-sided garter snake, American toad and Canadian toad. Herbivorous mammals are also found here. For example, reindeer, moose, elk, it is also type of a deer, and roe deer. Small mammals like rodent species like beaver, squirrel, North American porcupine are present. Birds, Siberian thrush and white-throated sparrow. So this is a diagram of food web in the taiga biome basically. So here are the series of the producers, that is the coniferous forest. Then the second level, that is the insects, birds, moose and elk, and the squirrel and mouse. Then they are particularly eaten by, as we can see, in by wolf. And here these are birds are eaten by owl, insects are eaten by birds, and squirrel and mouse were eaten by fox and weasel, and particularly the last stage is the lynx, that is we can say the most higher consumer, we can say higher tropic level consumer. So, in conclusion, we can say these forests are important from lumbering, so timber and pulpwood are economically very valuable for the industrial purposes, and yeah, they still possess some sort of threat from the climate change and by human activities. So, there is a need to protect them and conserve them. So, this is all about the temperate needle-leaf forest, the tundra biome. Hope you will like my video, and if you like my video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel.